Welcome everyone, it's Gray Shirt Guy, rocking a gray shirt. As always, we have some Rakdos, Lord of Riots. Let's get into it. Black, black, red, red for its mana cost. Legendary creature Demon. It's from Return to Ravnica. Pretty good set. I think I have the entire set. I do. In paper. You can't cast this spell unless an opponent lost life this turn, which is something that we do have to work around. It is flying, trample, 6/6. But the great part about it is creature spells you cast cost one less to cast for each one life your opponents have lost this turn. That's all your opponents collectively, so do be aware of that. Though then again, Midgo does all that work for us, which is pretty nice. Now, there are two main ways to make Rakdos Lord of Riots. There is Eldrazi Tribal, and there's Demon Tribal. This is a Demon Tribal version of the deck. If you are curious and you're looking for the Eldrazi version, I have a link below in the description for EDHREC for Rakdos, and you can go ahead and look at what other people are posting for Eldrazi and go from there. And there will be a link to, I believe, MTGO Traders. There will be a link for this deck. So if you use MTGO Traders, feel free to click on that link and either take the deck list and use it somewhere else, or buy it from them. If you're playing this on online. If you're not playing this online, it's all right. You can just get these cards for paper. I don't know how expensive this deck is in paper. It's probably actually kind of expensive because some of the lands in here. But I think this deck is pretty fun. And yeah, feel free to check out the multiplayer episode and we'll see how it fares. I've been doing a lot of practice with this deck, tweaking it a little bit, taking some cards out So EDHREC does recommend certain cards because they're demons, but those demons, when you put them in this kind of a package, don't really work as well, especially like the new Theros Beyond Death demon that's highly recommended. It exiles some of your demons and brings them back as 1/1s where they still have their abilities. That's actually not ideal. I'd much rather the demons go to the graveyard because I have some ways of bringing them back from the graveyard, and to exile them or make them 1/1s, they're not as potent. So that Theros Beyond Death demon that's recommended, I played with it, not a big fan, so I wouldn't put it in here. But let's just kind of get into the cards, and then we'll talk about some like other options at the end. Let's get into the lands. So we got Badlands because I have a Badlands in paper, and I would put a Badlands in this deck. We got Blood Crypt, we got Bloodstained Mire, we got Bojuka Bog to kind of lock down some opponents. We also got Cabal Coffers because there's a lot of black pips in this deck, and we got a lot of swamps. We got Canyon Slough, or however you say this, from Amonkhet. I do like this land. Although it comes in tapped, you can cycle it if you don't need it. We need it. We always need it. Command Tower, Dragon Skull Summit, Foreboding Ruins, Luxury Suite. Always throw that in there. I believe we have about 8. I think it's 8 mountains. Then we got Path of Ancestry because it's a Demonic Tribal deck. Reliquary Tower. There are some instances where you pop off pretty good with this deck, so you got to be careful about hit that maximum hand size. That's why I put Reliquary Tower in here. It's the only one that does this in the deck that I don't believe I have anything else that is maximum hand size, but pretty good card. We got Rogue's Passage because there are some cards in this deck that benefit a lot from dealing damage to opponents, especially Rakdos. So I like the idea, or like even if Rakdos doesn't attack, other demons need to be able to not be blocked. So we definitely got Rogue's Passage for some shenanigans. And I believe we have 11 swamps. I love this art. Like this is by far one of my favorite. It fits Rakdos really because it's the original Ravnica's art lands, but because it's kind of in the same plane. But I really love just the swamps. I don't know why. They look really good. Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth because we are Yawgmoth. Yeah, Yawgmoth. Yeah. Each land is a swamp addition to its other types. We need as many swamps as we can get. And Westvale Abbey because it's an honorary demon, and it can make up some 1/1 tokens if we don't have anything to play for a while, or we just have like an excessive amount of lands. We can definitely play Westvale Abbey. I haven't gotten to tap it for its demon, but I'm pretty sure that Ormondal Profane Prince, if I got it on the field, it's going to be great. So hey, hopefully that might happen in the multiplayer game. All right, let's get into it. So we have Mana Crypt. The reason why I put Mana Crypt in this deck is because there are a lot of very expensive demons in here. We go all the way up to 9 CMC. There are a lot that cost a lot of colorless pips, And this is one way. So this also counts as ramp. So I've been starting to follow the philosophy of 10 ramp, 10 card draw, 5 single target removal, and 5 board wipes in all my decks that I've been building in the last couple weeks. Basically, ever since Spider and Hydra Tribal is when I was been really doing this. So a lot of the decks I was doing before were mostly just based upon what was highly recommended as synergistic, not based upon like whether it fit a proper role. I've been noticing that by doing the 10 ramp, 10 card draw, 5 single target, 5 board wipes, I'm actually getting a lot better games and a lot more interaction with like the board state. It's not that those metrics, those 30 cards, is 30 cards? Those 30 cards that are recommended don't necessarily mean that you have to put those numbers, but I would get sort of near those numbers. And so this also counts as ramp. Then we got Dark Ritual, which is obviously ramp. Dark Ritual, I got a story about Dark Ritual here in a little bit. We got Vampiric Tutors. A lot of black tutors I've been using. I just count them as card draw because essentially they are a card draw. You pay mana, go get yourself a card. Also, there's a lot of tutors in the deck to try to get very specific demons. So it's both card draw and getting demons I need to get my engine going. So we got Vandal Blast. This Vandal Blast does count as both single target and board wipes because there are a lot of decks that use a lot of artifacts, and sometimes just wiping everyone's artifacts out. Wiping everyone else's artifacts out does a really good job of clearing the board. Expedition Map for ramp. We got Soul Ring for some ramp. We got Wayfarer's Bauble also for ramp. Demonic Tutor for card draw. Thrill of Possibility for card draw. Dreadbore for single target removal. And also it's Rakdos, so it just fits so well. I mean, like it's from Return to Ravnica. It's a flavor win. We got Rakdos Charm for single target removal for graveyards, or single target removal for artifacts, mass removal for graveyards, and it can do some damage if our opponents have a lot of creatures and we don't have any creatures. So if our opponent is playing like mass tokens and our board is like 1 or 2 deep, we can basically just play Rakdos Charm to wipe our opponent out for having just too many creatures. So Rakdos Charm can be a finisher, so it's got some pretty decent abilities. We got Terminate for some single target removal. We got Arcane Signet and Rakdos Signet for some ramp. We got Animate Eternal. Now, Animate Eternal is mostly just because there are 1 or 2 demons and or planeswalkers that I would replace with the Eternal. But they were a little bit more expensive than I was willing to pay. Well, normally what happens is when you buy things on MTGO Traders, if you're using PayPal, I don't think there's any other way to buy them. Well, you can buy them with ticks. But if you're using PayPal, I don't think it works if it's under $5. And what had happened is I was buying all the demons for this deck, and I was at like $8 or something like that for the demons I didn't have. And I forgot 1 or 2 demons. And when I bought it, I was like, oh man, I looked at the price of those 2 demons I didn't have, which are 2 different versions of Ob Nixilis. There's the Planeswalker and one of the Ob Nixilis demons. I think it's the Landfall one. I forgot to add them to the deck, and since I forgot to add them I forgot to add them to shopping cart, but they're collectively not $5. So I will get those 2 demons at some point, and I'll swap them into the deck, or at least one of the 2 demons. But Animate Eternal is not bad, actually, if you look at him. So he's a zombie crocodile demon, so he does fit the demon profile. He's got a Flick 3. A Flick 3 is really useful. Now, whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a -1/-1 counter. That could be a problem. Now, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, remove all of those counters from it. So it's more of the afflict cost is kind of really what we're trying to do. Basically, we want to swing in, and if we swing in, it removes all the counters from it. And it stays on the board. If they don't block it, or if they do block it, they're going to take 3 life regardless. If they don't block it, then our Animate Eternal can stay on the field longer. So it's pretty good value for 3 mana. No problem there. Painful Lesson. Target player draws 2 cards, loses 2 life. Card draw, no problem there. Life is not a problem in Rakdos. I mean, gaining life is, but spending life isn't. Read the Bones, more card draw. Excuse me. Hero's Downfall. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night, so apologies. Destroy target creature and a planeswalker. One of the best single target removals in the game. Maybe not the best, but one of the best in my personal opinion. Phyrexian Arena, get that, got to get that ramp, got to get that card draw, got to keep ourselves moving in this deck, because if we don't move, we're going to fall behind some of the faster decks. So we got to be careful with that. We got Bedeviled for basically, this is probably one of the, I think this might be better than Hero's Downfall, but the fact that it's 2 black and a red could be a problem in some decks, but I don't think we're going to have a problem here. Burnished Heart for some ramp. Now, here we go. We start getting into kind of more of the demon synergistic stuff. We got Blood Speaker. At the beginning of your opponent, or at the beginning of your upkeep, you may sacrifice the Blood Speaker. If you do, search library for a demon card and put in your hand. This is really good, because we can use this to go look for demons that also go look for other things. And then when a demon enters the battlefield under your control, I get to return Blood Speaker from my graveyard to my hand. So I have no problem sacrificing this as many times as I want. So this card is very good. Cryptghast for some ramp. He can extort also if we want to, but mostly just trying to get those extra black mana. Siphon Mine for some card draw and kind of to like hand attack our opponent. Damnation, because we need those board wipes. We need to wipe the field. There are times when like we just don't have enough demons on the board, and the opponents are getting stupid degenerate with elves or something like that, or humans, or soldier tokens, or things like that, and we just need to wipe the board. Damnation, really good. I like it. Desecration Demon. Now this demon's got an interesting ability where like it's a 6/6 for 4 flying, but if nobody sacrifices, if someone sacrifices a creature, they can tap it, but it gets bigger if they do that. So it's kind of like they're paying to make my demon bigger. So it's pretty good. I like it. It's actually for 4 mana. It's good. Diabolic Tutor. Diabolic Tutor also for some card draw and to go specifically fetch whatever I need. Spawn of Mayhem. Speculate for 3. It's a 4/4 for 4. Speculate 3. You may cast this spell for its speculate cost rather than its mana cost if an opponent lost life this turn. So that's really important to think about. And it just has like just this creepy split down the face teeth thing going on. It's awesome. Flying Trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, Spawn of Mayhem deals 1 damage to each player. Okay. Then if you have 10 or less life, put a 1/1 counter on it. So it could get pretty bad if you were like close to the end and you thought you might lose. Spawn of Mayhem can kind of give you a little bit more presence on the battlefield. We have Anger. We need this baby. We need him angry, and we need him in our graveyard. If the opponent refuses to kill it, we can kill it ourselves, but we want all of our stuff to have haste. So Anger, Angry Baby, we're playing it. Nyx Lotus, because there's a lot of black pips in here, and we're going to have a lot of devotion to black. You can also put the Gray Merchant of Asmodel in here. I'm not sure exactly what I would take out to put the Gray Merchant in, because I took out the Gray Merchant to put in Anger, because I think Anger is almost more worth it. But Nyx Lotus is also really good for devotion. You can also put Shrine of Nyx as the land. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but that is an option for putting the a land option, because there's a lot of devotion to black here. We got Solemn Sacralum because we need Sad Robot for both card draw and ramp. We got Archfiend of Depravity. So flying at the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures that control, then sacrifices the rest. So Archfiend is basically trying to keep our opponent from getting too ahead of us. Black Market. Black Market is probably the best ramp spell that black has. And it doesn't matter if your opponent's sacrificing their own creatures or if other people are fighting each other. If you got Black Market down, it's just getting bigger. It is a high target for enchantment removal, but if we can use it a couple turns to get a couple big beefy things out, it's all gravy, no problems there. Bloodgift Demon from Innistrad, I believe it's original Innistrad. It's a 5/4 for 5, flying at the beginning of your upkeep. Target player draws a card and loses 1 life. So this is card draw for us, or if we were playing on like a 2-headed giant, or if we were playing where we were just trying to be more political in our games. That doesn't really come up a lot in mid-go. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Some people generally are like, I don't care. I'm just going to play however I want. But you can probably give someone else a card if you wanted to. But for me, I see this as card draw on a body. And yeah. Indulgent Tormentor, flying at the beginning of your upkeep, draw a card unless target opponent sacrifices a creature or pays 3 life. So this is just card draw on a creature. I love it. Liliana's Contract. Now, Liliana's Contract is sweet. It's 5 mana enchantment. Whenever it enters the battlefield, draw 4 cards, which is awesome. Now, you do lose 4 life, which is hit or miss. But at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 4 or more demons with different names, you win the game. So it's very possible. I haven't done it yet. Very possible to win the entire game with Lilia's contract, if you can get 4 separate demons on the field, the enchantment, and then just hopefully the enchantment survives and the creatures survive all the way around to your turn. If you were playing some sort of a flash package with like Medallion Orrery, you could probably do this way more degenerately on like the end step of the opponent's turn before your turn when you already had all the demons. So just think about that. That's a possible line of play. I just haven't found a place where I want to put Medallion Orrery in. Maybe if I would get rid of something else, maybe Read the Bones, maybe for Medallion Orrery, but I'm not 100% sure. Post in the description down below, or the comments down below, what you would take out to put Medallion Orrery in. I kind of see one card I might, but let's keep going. So we got Palace Siege. Palace Siege. Now, I generally only ever use Palace Siege for its cons ability. At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hands. This is really good when demons die. Palace Siege is awesome. Now, you do have the other option for if you have a really, really annoying opponent who just for some reason just won't take any damage or something. You can just slowly make them lose 2 life by taking dragons. Very situational. Prefer cons over dragons, at least for this card, but dragons is an option. Patriarch's Bidding. Patriarch's Bidding is one of those weird cards where since there are a lot of tribal decks in Mitgo and in Magic or in Commander specifically, Patriarch's Bidding, very good for demons, but also very good for everybody else. So maybe this would be a card that I would take out for Medallion Orrery, and I might actually do that before the multiplayer game. I'm thinking about that. Maybe that might be a good idea. But Patriarch's Bidding's, it's not a board wipe. It's basically to try to rebuild your entire board. We do have another card that does that in the deck. I think Patriarch's Bidding's not bad, but could be swapped out if you so desire. Promise of Power. Promise of Power, pretty good. You draw 5 cards, so we get massive card draw. You do lose 5 life. That's not a problem. Now, it has Entwine. Now, I read this wrong, and I've read this wrong like 3 or 4 times. Create an, so 1, XX black demon creature with flying, where X the number of cards in your hand. I read that as make X1, so like you make a bunch of demons, but instead it just makes 1, so just be aware of that. And you can entwine it to do for both, but if you entwine it, that's 9 mana to entwine it. So if you have 9 mana, all right, go for it. If you're not doing anything else. Reforge the Soul, because we need some card draw, we need to wheel, we need to, I like to think about this. I like is that you discard your hands, or everybody discards their hands, then draw 7 cards. I pulled Reforge the Soul on my first hand. I didn't have any land to play Miracle Cost, so I was kind of annoyed. So this next card is probably one of the most degenerate cards in the deck. It's called Master of Cruelties. If you've never seen this before, this features very heavily in Kaalia decks because there is a combo with Kaalia to where when you attack, you place a creature on the field that is tapped and attacking. So Master of Cruelties can't take damage. There's ways that Master of Cruelties can completely hose an entire opponent if you're using Kaalia. So just if you're curious about that, just look her up. But anyway, so we have First Strike, Death Touch. Master Cruelties can only attack alone, so that's kind of where we get into the problem where, like, he's not attacking with other creatures. Kaalia is attacking first, and he's coming in second, so it's weird. But we don't have Kaalia on this deck because we don't have white. Whenever Master Cruelties attacks a player and isn't blocked, that player's life total becomes 1. Master Cruelties assigns no combat damage this combat. I have knocked an entire opponent down to 1 just because he didn't want to block. I mean, he ended up losing like 2 turns later because I was like, well, I don't want to kill you because it was a 4-player game. I kind of wanted him to stay in the game longer, but he was just talking trash, so I ended up getting rid of him. So, not saying this deck is like OP as shit, but when you hit someone with Master Cruelties and go from 40 to 1, there's not a lot they can do after that. All right, so let's keep going. So then we got Demon Lord Belzenlock from Dominaria. Flying Trample. Whenever it enters the battlefield, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile a non-land card. Then put that card into your hand. If the card's mana cost is 4 or greater, repeat this process, which can happen a lot. And then it deals 1 damage for each card that you put in your hand. So it's got a really good end of the battlefield effect. And if you end up going to the graveyard and bringing it back to your hand with Palace Siege, it's even better. Harvester of Souls. Harvester of Souls is awesome. He was in a bunch of those dual decks, and so I actually have a bunch of these different versions of this in paper. But Death Touch, 5/5 for 6. Nice. Whenever another non-token creature dies, you get to draw a card. Very useful. I like this. Even if we don't kill them, it's good to go. Ob Nixilis Unshackled. So this isn't the landfall one, but this is still a pretty good one. Flying Trample. Whenever an opponent searches the library, that player sacrifices a creature and lose 10 life. So this definitely hates on people searching their library or opponents. What about it? Whenever an opponent dies, put a 1/1 counter on Ob Nixilis that's shackled. I have played against him as a commander, so just be aware. We got Sower of Discord. Oh my god, Sower of Discord. Ooh, so good. So enters the battlefield, choose 2 players. Obviously, you're going to choose the 2 strongest players. If you can figure out which 2 are the strongest. Whenever damage is dealt to one of those chosen players, the other chosen player also loses that much life. This is so good. I can't say anything bad about Sower of Discord at all. It's just awesome. Demon of Dark Seams. When it enters the battlefield, all of the creatures get -1/-1 until end turn. So it's kind of like Elish Norn, except for only ETB. And then whenever another creature dies, you gain an energy. You pay 3, and then you pay 4 energy. Put target creature card from a graveyard on the battlefield tapped under your control. So this isn't just your graveyard, this is your opponent's graveyards too, so be aware of that. Sometimes like you get really tunnel focused on trying to get something back from your graveyard, only for you to go, oh, I could have taken that big, huge dragon or angel or something from your opponent, so they can't use it. So just think about that. We got Ripper from the Abyss. Ripper from the Abyss. Creature Demon. It's a 6/6. It's a 6/6/4/6. Flying Morbid at the beginning of each end step. If a creature died this turn, destroy target non-demon creature. So this is very useful. Rakdos, the Showstopper. So we got 2 different Rakdoses in this deck. Pretty good. Flying Trample. When it enters the battlefield, flip a coin for each creature that isn't a demon, devil, or imp. Destroy those creatures whose coins came up tails. This is really good. I definitely like this deck. No problems here. And we got Abhorrent Overlord. Flying. When an Abhorrent Overlord enters the battlefield, create a number of 1/1 black harpy creature tokens with flying equal to your devotion to black. This can get a lot. That could be a lot here. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. So, you know, it could be really good. It could be really bad. I mean, I generally wouldn't be really bad. You would just sacrifice the Overlord. But if you didn't want to sacrifice any of your other big, beefy demons. We got Kindred Dominance for some board wipe action. And, I mean, there's demons there. So, like, you know, it just works. Overseer of the Damned. Flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target creature. When a non-token creature an opponent controls dies, create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. It's just incidental creature. More creatures bringing in. Runescar Demon. Runescar Demon is an awesome demon to tutor up. Really useful. Lets you go tutor up a different card. Lord of the Void. Lord of the Void is gross from Gatecrash. It's just gross. When Lord of the Void deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 7 cards of that player's library, and then put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield under my control. So, oh man, Lord of the Void's great. I hate getting attacked by it. Star of Extinction for a board wipe. We had Apocalypse in here, and we actually got to cast it once, but I realized Apocalypse was just too degenerate. So if you don't know what Apocalypse does, it exiles everything on the board, and you discard your hand. But your opponents still have their hands, so... But anyways, destroy a target land and deals 20 damage to each creature near each player. So this could be just we could just blow out the game with this if you want to. We got Elbrus, the Binding Blade, and so this is also another optional card you can remove, but I like it so much. It's got that sweet anime art with the is this Dark Dissension? I'm not 100% sure about that sentence symbol. But anyways, let's get into it. A crypt creature gets +1/+1. If a crypt creature deals damage to a player, unattach the Blinding Blade and transform it into a 13/13 flying, intimidate, trample. Whenever a player loses the game, put 13 1/1 counters on it. Like, this thing is ridiculous. This thing's huge. It's a house. I love this thing. It's great. Archfiend of Despair. So we got for 8 mana, flying, your opponents can't gain life. At the beginning of each end step, each opponent loses life equal to the life that player lost this turn. It's just good. It's just good. There's their value all around. Plus from Battle Bonds. Good set. Pestilence Demon. Flying. Pay 1 black, deals 1 damage to each target creature and player. So there's nothing wrong with Pestilence Demon. I like Pestilence Demon. We got Razakat, the Foul-Blooded, basically just a tutor for 2 life. I mean, you do have to sacrifice a creature, so there could be an issue there. But worst case scenario, he's an 8/8 for 8 flying trample, which is just good. I like that. All right, we have Phyllis, Broker of Blood. This thing is stupid. Like, so flying, it's 1 black, pay 2 life, targeted creature gets -1/-1 until end turn. Whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. So every time you pay 2 life, you're tapping 1 mana, paying 2 life to make something -1/-1 and draw 2 cards. That's basically what you're doing. It's awesome. In Garrick's Wake is a board wipe of the highest accord because it's creatures you don't control and planeswalkers you don't control. So it's awesome. Now, we don't have any planeswalkers in this. Well, no, actually. No, we don't. Yeah, that's the thing. We don't have. There are 2 planeswalkers you could add to this deck that wouldn't be too bad, but we don't have any of them. But if we do, Garrick's Wake would help us out. So it's good. Rise of Dark Realms. Rise of Dark Realms. Dark Realms, not Whelms, is probably one of the best ways to just blow out the game and just win the game right away. So I definitely recommend Rise of the Dark Realms, especially the CMC cost isn't a problem in this deck. I just take everyone's creatures, swing in, good to go. Now, incidentally, they wouldn't have haste because anger would be in your hand. Or, yeah, no, it would be on the field. So, this is a problem there. Spirits of the Night. So, overcosted, but it's from Mirage. I saw this card, and I wanted to make a commander deck with Spirit of the Night. And then I realized it wasn't just a legendary creature spirit, it was a legendary creature demon spirit. And I was like, I have to. I cannot not play Spirit of the Night. So I had to go for it. And I'm going to tell you right now, Spirit of the Night is awesome. I mean, aside from the weird trippy art with the seashell left eye, Spirit of the Night's a great card. So it's a 6/5 for 9. So that's a high cost, but with Rakdos, it's not too bad. We can still cast him most every time. If he's in our hand, we can generally cast him unless he's like in the first beginning couple turns. Flying, trample, haste, protection from black. It's useful. And then Spirit of the Night has first strike as long as it's attacking. So yeah, Spirit of the Night, pretty good. I like it. And then the last card in the deck is Dread Cacodemon. So is a demon for 9 mana. It's a lot. Whenever it enters the battlefield, if you cast it from your hand, destroy all creatures your opponent controls, then tap all other creatures you control. Generally, you're not playing this until your second main phase after you've already attacked. So, like, tapping creatures is not that big a deal. And if your all of your opponent's creatures are dead, then tapping your creatures for 1 rotation of the board shouldn't be a problem. But just be careful when you're playing this. It is really good for mid-game board wipes. For kind of establishing a presence and attacking in. But yeah, so there are a few other cards that I would recommend. Let me go look those up real quick. Okay, all right, let's type in some cards. So we got different Nix. All right, so let's go to quantity. Boom. All right. So let's see. We definitely would recommend adding Obnixilis the Black Oath. It's really good. I'm not sure where you're going to fit him, but he's really good. It's just a good planeswalker overall, and you can make a commander out of him later. And then I would definitely recommend putting in Obnixilis the Fallen. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under control, you may have target player lose 3 life. If you do, put 3 counters on Obnixilis. I definitely would recommend putting Obnixilis in this deck, and next time I go and buy some cards, I'm going to buy this card. I'm going to add it to the deck. I'm not sure what I'm going to take out. As far as the other ones, I'm not too keen on the Obnixilis Reignited. It's not bad. It's good single target removal, but it doesn't really last that long. Obnixilis Cruelty, I'm not sure about that. But Obnixilis the Hate Twisted, whenever a opponent draws a card, deals 1 damage. It's not bad. But we don't really have a way to bring planeswalkers back, so you're paying 5 mana for something that's, it's gonna kill 2 creatures at most. So it's I don't know. There are other more efficient Obnixilis versions, but the old school planeswalker from Commander and Obnixilis the Fallen are good Obnixili to go with. And then what was the other one? Well, Vendalken Orrery. If you don't know what that does, I'm probably gonna put it in the deck. Let's see, Vendalken. Is that how you spell it? No? Okay, I'm going to type in Orrery. Aura. I just spelled Aura wrong. Nope, that's not Ori. Hold on one moment. Okay, you know what? Let's go quantity. Quantity is something I have. Uh, no, I am totally I'm spelling all these cards wrong. Then Ben. No, BD. Ah, there we go. Vidalkin. Okay, Orrer. Ah, I was spelling it wrong. Okay. I'm probably actually going to take this and put this in here. What am I going to take out? I did say I was going to take out something, but what was I going to take out? Oh, now I don't know. I could see taking out Pestilence Demon because it is an 8 mana cost demon, but it's a 7/6, so it's pretty useful actually. I don't really want to get rid of any more demons. Ooh, what are we gonna take out? What are we gonna take out? Oh, where was it? Read the Bones? Well, I mean, I don't know. Read the Bones is pretty good. Oh, Patriarch's Bidding. That's what it was. I was gonna take out Patriarch's Bidding. So this is kind of a good question. Like, how do you decide what to take out, what to put in? Patriarch's Bidding is a good card, but in Commander, it's actually almost more of a liability. So we're gonna take out Patriarch's Bidding and we're gonna slam in Vindalka Orrery into the deck. All right, this is how we're gonna do it. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Hope everyone has a good time, and let's see you in the multiplayer game. Have a good one. Later.